Hello and welcome to this video on Azure Portal. It's a demonstration of how to use the Azure Portal. I'll go through very basic steps on what you need to know to navigate around in the Azure Portal and just show you how to create a resource group and resource and then trying out the Cloud Shell, etc. A little bit the small things about how to navigate the UI. Let's move on to the portal now. So navigate to portal.azure.com and you will come into the portal, and this is what you will see in the beginning. We have several Azure services here, recent. Here you see the recent resources that you have used. Here you have a little bit of navigation here to some favorites, to quick stuffs. Also, you have this blade here where you'll find all your favorites, resources, and also home and the dashboard. Then you will have this hub here to have different types of things for Azure Cloud that you can choose. For example, if you're working in data engineering, maybe Fabric could be interesting for you if you are working a lot in the Azure stack, for example. And you also have, for example, GitHub, which you're used to, and Visual Studio Code. Okay, what else can we do? We'll try out and click here. This is a Cloud Shell. Or actually, when you log in the first time, if you're not using English by default and it's in another language, you may want to change it, and you can click here for settings. Inside of settings, there is language settings, and I choose English, that it becomes in English. Otherwise, it may be in your computer's language. Okay, then let's take a look into resource groups. Resource groups is logical grouping of different resources. For example, here I have a storage resource group, and here I have my different storage accounts where I have different resources inside there. You can create new resources by clicking this create button. Or you can actually, when you're creating your resource, you can choose to create a new resource group, or you can connect to an existing resource group. I'll start with creating another resource actually. I will take virtual machines. This is basically a machine that exists in Microsoft, but you can see it as a computer basically that you can install stuff on it. And you can use it, for example, if you're taking a lot of things from on-premise, you can lift and shift, you can place the things inside a virtual machine, and it works if you know how to set it up. I won't go through virtual machine a lot, but I'll just show you the process of using the Azure Portal for it. We'll create a virtual machine. When we click create, we can choose what we want to create here. And I'll choose virtual machine. It's basically a computer. Here you choose your subscription. I choose the Teaching Azure, which is my subscription. Here, the resource group, you can see we can pick the ones that already exist, or we create a new one. I'll create a new one called new tests VM or demo VM-RG. Okay, then virtual machine name, I will call it a new VM. It must be a unique name, exactly. The region you choose the one that is closest to you. For me, it's Sweden Central. If there is not, then for me, I'll choose North Europe. Then here you can choose for availability zones. You can choose here how you want it to work with the regions and the zones. You can see more into the theory about what this means. I'll just choose here Azure selected zones. Here, security type, image, I want to choose the image, which type of machine I want. For example, you can see here we can choose different, these are different types of Linux. Here you have Windows. For example, I'll choose Windows. Then let's see, we can choose how strong the machine should be. Here it's for virtual CPUs and 16 gigabyte RAM as memory. Then you choose your username. I can choose, for example, Windows VM, and I will choose a password for that. We can allow some selected ports. This port, we can allow that. It means that all IP address can access this virtual machine. You should choose another one if there's other ports to choose, but I won't go through what this means. Instead, I'll just show you how to create this resource. Then you can go next to disks. Here are a lot of options you can choose for disks. You can choose disk type or disk size, etc. Here you have advanced settings. I won't go through what that means. And afterwards you have networking. And there's a lot of things you can choose for your networking. Basically, you have networking in virtual networks. And then what type of subnets, what you want to expose, etc. I won't go through this either. Instead, if you want to just take the basic setups, you can see there's a lot of different tabs here. You can click on next to go to the next tabs and work through that one and see if there's settings that you want to pick. Or if you're good enough with the basics, then you can just click review and create. And when you click on that one, it will validate and see if it's possible to create, and the validation has passed. If it has passed, then we can just click on create. When you create, you can see it will create our virtual machine. Here is initializing deployment. Deployment in progress, and it's different things that will happen when you're trying to deploy these virtual machines. You can see that there are different resources that have been created. For example, here, new VM NSG. I won't say what that means. It stands for Network Security Group. Here's the new VM. It's about to be created. Here's Network Interface Associated Virtual Network. You can see there's several resources that need to be created in order for that this virtual machine creating a lot of infrastructure for us. Virtual machine is infrastructure as a service. We can go to the resource groups. You can see that this resource group has been created that is called demo VM-RG. Inside of this resource group, all the resources that the virtual machine created is put under this one. You can see here's our new VM. Here is the public IP address, and here is the network security group. Network interface, and here's the disk that we created, and here is the virtual network to connect the different components to each other. Here you can click on your new VM. You can see that it's running here. If you're using Mac, there's a software called Windows Apps that you can connect. There's a remote desktop that you can connect to this virtual machine, and you will have your Windows machine. But I won't do that in this video, just showed you that we have created this one. I'll show you now Cloud Shell. This is a terminal that you can work with to do different commands. You could do Azure VM list. And you can see that our virtual machine exists there now. We have our VM list, we have our virtual machine that has this, here it's called new VM, we call it new VM. When you're learning more about Azure, you can learn more about the shell and what type of commands that exist, and you can interact with different resources with this terminal. I'll just close this down. And then I want to delete this. What if I just delete the VM, all my other resources still exist and they will still cost money. I'll go into a resource group and I will click on, let's see, demo VM-RG. When you're doing exercises to learn Azure and you're not needing to persist any resources, then after you've done the exercise, you can delete the resource group and it won't incur any extra costs. Then you click on delete resource group, and basically you need to copy this one, paste this one here, and apply for, delete. Deleting this resource group and its dependent resources is a permanent action and cannot be undone. Delete it, and it will disappear. Also, you can use Azure Cloud Shell to delete this resource. if you know the commands. But then after a while, it says what happens in the notifications here. It said first we deployed it successfully, and now we're deleting this resource group. That is what's happening. When I'm deleting this resource group, we can see if we go into resource groups, it's still here because it's not finished deleting yet, but you can see that it's deleting the resources. We have fewer resources now than we had before. If I refresh this, you can see even more resources have been deleted. Yes, now it should be gone. So, okay, I won't wait until it's finished, but know that all the resources will disappear and it won't incur costs. Yes, this is what I want to show you in the Azure Portal. Okay, in this video we have gone through the Azure Portal and navigating around in the GUI to learn a little bit of basics of how the resource group looks like, how the resources look like, going into the Cloud Shell, how that looked like, and trying out to create a resource. And the resource that we chose was the virtual machine. Then, as you've seen, the virtual machine depends on a lot of other resources. All those were put together in a logical container that is the resource group. Resource is the smallest unit, and then they are grouped together in the resource group. Learn more from the theory videos. In this, it was more hands-on and trying out the Azure portals. And then afterwards, very importantly, is that if you're following along with the tutorials and you just want to learn, and then make sure that you delete all the resources by deleting the resource group, that it doesn't incur any cost for you. Okay, thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye.